And so we went to Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada, and I went to America as well. And the book was #1 in all of those countries except America. And it was the start. And then by 1990, I was, later, 89, I suppose, we were doing videos. And then by 1990, I had my own series on BBC. And then I went to ITV in 1993 on to This Morning with Richard and Judy. I was there for about 7 years. And doors just kept opening. And I was writing my next book, and the newspapers were just saying, when's your next book? Please, can we have serialization of it? And they were paying big money for this. It was extraordinary. And at one point, I had the Sunday Express and the Mail on Sunday saying, we really want your next book. And it was this little book for summer, slimmed down for summer. And they both wanted it so badly. So I said, well, give me a note. It's 12 o'clock Thursday lunchtime. Your best bid for it. And also I want 12 pages of advertising to launch our clubs, which we just launched Rosemary Conley Diet and Fitness Clubs that year, with 12 pages of free advertising. And the Express came back and said, we can't give you the free advertising, but we'll offer you X, which was a 6-figure sum. And the Mail came back and they offered less, but they could give us the advertising. It launched our business. It was phenomenal. And so it was just extraordinary how the whole sort of thing just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And God, and one very important bit, my husband became a Christian very shortly after me as a result of the Powerful Living book as well. So yeah, so that was very lovely. And God has just been amazing. But I mean, there's been a bit of a twist in that, because insofar as since then I've written 35 books and I've done 30 fitness videos and so on and so forth. And then 2 years ago, things started not going so well with the business. And we found that there were all kinds of things that happened, like the horse meat scandal, sort of 14, 15 months ago. We sell ready meals, and there's no horse meat in them, but the whole ready meal market just did this. The economic climate meant that some of our franchisees were really struggling to get enough people to go to their classes, so a lot of them left us. And then the magazine publishing market, we all know that printed media is on the decline. And so all of these things, and added to which we'd invested a lot of money into a TV studio that we have in our offices. And all in all, and then in January this year, I'm afraid, we hit the point where we realised that we'd gone too far, and we actually hadn't got enough money to pay all our bills, so we had to go into administration. Now, this is a real challenge when you're known to be somebody, you very kindly gave me a huge build-up there, and you suddenly, but I tell you what, I am so grateful to God, because God is there, and I absolutely, utterly trust him in everything that we're doing. And he gives you the courage and the confidence and the faith to know that you will come out of this. We will come out of this. And in whatever way he chooses. The lessons we must learn in our lives is that we can't write the script. We so can't. We have to follow what he shows us. And even on the depths days, because there were some days in only the last sort of 8 weeks that have been really, really horrible. And you just have to praise God. I got a bit cross with him one day because this is really, really hard. I look after I'm main carer for my 91 mother-in-law, and I think, come on, this is hard. But she's a dear, so that's not really too much of a problem. But the good news is we have a new publisher for our magazine, so the magazine was having to, and here it is on the shelves now. And so in effect, we only missed like a month, and this new publisher came on and said, yes, as long as I can have all the proceeds from the sale of it, I will press the button and pay for the paper and get it printed, and we're really well in negotiations with them, which is fantastic.
Now, you've spoken about so many things, and I'm sure a lot of the women, you've touched so many different areas, from things going really well to hitting rock bottom to going back up again and things like that. So you've spoken about God, and if I'm thinking, what questions can I ask you? You've asked a lot of the questions. But what would you say has been your greatest challenge?
Right, the greatest challenge in my life was when my husband and I, we've been together now 28 years, we've been married 28 years now, but about 1999 to 2003, we went through a really, really tough time. Now that's the worst thing that's ever happened in my life, no question about it. And if it hadn't been for God, we would not have survived it. But God absolutely supported me through every moment of it. And the lady whose The Powerful Living book was written by somebody called Jamie Buckingham, but it was sponsored by the DeMoss Foundation in America. And this is a phenomenal organisation. Now, Arthur DeMoss had died, but Nancy DeMoss, his widow, had carried on his amazing campaign to sort of spread the word. They've given over 100 million copies of that book away worldwide. Unbelievable what they do unbelievable. Now, we had the privilege of meeting Nancy, and we'd been over and stayed with her in America and so on. And at this time, I would ring Nancy and say, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to cope, this, that, and the other. And she said, just surround yourself with Christian music, Christian tracks that you've got, in your bathroom, in your loo. Stick something there to read about God. Have a tape in your car. It was tapes in those days. Have a tape in your car with Christian music, and just surround yourself with godly things, and just hold on. And that's what I did. And then God did an extraordinary thing. He actually sent an army of men to support me. Now, this was in no way, these were the whole of this time. My husband just went through a really tough time for himself. I mean, that's what was happening here. And at no point did I ever think about looking elsewhere. Absolutely not a moment. It didn't even come on the radar. But God sent me this sort of team of men who I knew, various friends of Mike and friends that I worked with and so on and so forth. And they would just ring me randomly and say, are you all right? I'm sort of filling up, just because they were so kind. And I tell you what, praise God for that, because it was just, he sent me an army. That's what I felt. And we came through it. And then we absolutely did come through it. And it was, looking back, best thing that could have happened to us. Hard at the time.
Now, how did you feel when you were appointed for your CBE? It's one of your successes, isn't it?
That was very special. When you're in the business that I'm in the diet and fitness industry, which is an industry which is not always ethical. There are lots of people doing lots of things that aren't really that good. And for me to be given a CBE was just off the scale amazing. And interestingly, this goes back, because the timing, Abby, was perfect there, because during this 4-year wilderness period, as we call it, God gave me all kinds of honours. And so in 1999, I was made a deputy lieutenant, and in 2001, I was on This Is Your Life, and in 2004, I was given a CBE. And I was given the Freedom of the City in 2000 of Leicester. And it was as though God was saying, look, I am pleased with you. I am pleased with you. Just keep on hanging in there. And a CBE was just extraordinary. And I went to Buckingham Palace, of course, and Mike and my daughter Dawn and my mother-in-law came along as well. Now, if you knew me, you would know that I fall over quite often. Now, it's quite funny because I ice skate now. We'll talk about ice skating in a minute. But I don't fall over that much on the ice, but I fall over a lot on ordinary solid ground. It's ridiculous. And strangely, I fall over less in high heels than I do in flats. Okay, so high heels, I'm good. And flat shoes, forget it, I fall over. It's, anyway. So we're going down in the car, and my husband says, now look, whatever you do, don't fall over. So no, I'm very conscious of this. So anyway, you get into Buckingham Palace, and if you've never been into Buckingham Palace, you tend to think of it, you see the front of it, because that's where everybody's, the railings and all that stuff, but it's actually this massive quadrangle. So you go through that archway bit, and then you go through this huge area, which is a courtyard. It's massive. It's like a football pitch. And then you go to the other end of that, and that's where you go through the door to actually get into the main bit of the building. And it's beautiful how they do this, because you've got all your soldiers in dress uniform and their plumes and their beautiful red, dress outfits. It's just, wow. You just want to film it all, and you think, well, I've got to be very dignified and not look awestruck and stuff like that. So anyway, we're going there, and then, of course, the first thing you want to do when you've been on a 2.5, 3 hour journey is go to the loo. So you say, excuse me, can we go to the loo? And they say, oh yes, well, the guests of the people who are the guests of the recipients, you go over there, and the recipients, you go this way. So I think, all right, so you're off on your own. So, and then it's up here, and it's up these stairs, and what have you, and I think, I'm going to get lost. So I thought, blow it, I'll hold it. So I turn round, go downstairs, fall downstairs, hat, big hat, bounce, 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 footmen coming all around me to gather me up. Fortunately, no sleeves fell off my suit, and fortunately I didn't ladder my tights, and fortunately the hat survived. And so I got back to meet up with Mike and Jean and Dawn, and said, guess what? And they said, you've not fallen down. Actually, I have. And so you then go into your different departments where they all go and sit in their chairs, and then you go upstairs and you have a drink, juice sort of thing. I'd get tiddly, obviously. I didn't need that to fall down the stairs. And then you're sort of given very, very clear instructions about what you should and what you shouldn't do. And you have to walk backwards. This is a challenge for somebody who falls over a lot. And when they offer you their hand to shake your hand at the end, that's your cue to go. So you mustn't say anything after that. And so, anyway, it was Prince Charles. He was absolutely, utterly charming. He made me feel like I was the only person in the room that mattered. It was fantastic. So it was a very special day. Fantastic. That was a long answer to your question. Yeah.